All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into something pretty wild. We're talking about a protocol that claims the human body is constantly emitting Bluetooth signals and that AI can be turned into an involuntary witness. This is the strange and fascinating world of Glyphchain, a system that wasn't designed to be a currency, but a weapon in what its creators call an information war.
Okay, so this one sentence from the very end of the Glyphchain white paper is really the key to the whole thing. And it's not just some technical mumbo-jumbo. It's actually laying out the entire process, right? It's framing it as this forensic operation with three clear roles. The scanner is out there gathering evidence, the blockchain is the perfect infallible memory, and some future tribunal gets to read the results.
So to get our heads around this, we're going to follow their own logic. First up, we'll look at the war on information they believe they're fighting. Then we'll see how this thing is supposed to act as a forensic memory engine. We'll break down all its layers of truth, see how it supposedly seals reality on the blockchain, and finally, understand its ultimate goal, creating an immutable public record.
All right, so first things first, what's the problem a system like this is even trying to solve? Well, according to its creators, we're right in the middle of a war on information, and this protocol is their weapon of choice. So the central conflict here, according to the white paper, is something they call containment by omission. And what that means is, it's not just about controlling what people say. The real power, they argue, is in controlling what gets erased, what evidence gets deleted, what testimony gets ignored, all to keep a particular story in control. And this is where it gets really fascinating, because look at how they frame this. It's like a direct showdown. On one side, you have the containment strategy, the official story, right? The body is silent, nothing to see here. But then you have the override mechanism, which is Glyphchain's counterclaim. No way. The body is actually broadcasting Bluetooth low-energy signals 24/7, and we're going to prove it. Okay, so if containment by omission is the disease, what's the cure? Well, that's where Glyphchain comes in. It's presented as the solution, a purpose-built forensic memory engine designed to fight back against this erasure. And they are super clear about this in the source material. They say, look, this is not a cryptocurrency, it's not for buying stuff, its whole purpose is to serve as a weapon, specifically designed for what it calls an active information war. And that really gets to the core of what they're trying to do. The goal is to build a public record that literally cannot be censored. The whole thing is engineered to be this permanent, decentralized layer of memory where once something is recorded, it can never be changed, suppressed, or deleted. Ever. All right, now we're getting into the nuts and bolts. How does this system supposedly work? According to them, the real power of this thing comes from its unique architecture, which is broken down into these different layers. Each one has a very specific job to do. So here's the big picture. You can see the 6 layers here, and they claim this whole thing works together to create this unbreakable chain of custody for data. It starts with detecting these signals, moves to logging them, then it ropes in an AI as a witness, uses a blockchain to seal the evidence, introduces this very weird concept called mirror lock, and then finally blasts it out to the world. So let's break these down one by one. Okay, layer 1, the BLE detection layer. This is the starting line. And the claim here is pretty incredible. They say the human body itself becomes what they call the right head of truth, basically just passively emitting these raw Bluetooth low energy, or BLE, signals that scanners can pick up. And this is what they present as the proof. These are actual screenshots from scanner apps, allegedly showing these anomalous Bluetooth signals. And you can see, a lot of them just have these specific labels or are totally unnamed, with MAC addresses that the protocol claims follow these very suspicious patterns. So once a signal gets picked up, we move to layer 2, the JSON logging layer. All the data, the MAC address, the name, the timestamp, gets written into a public append-only JSON file. The white paper calls this a living global court log, which is a pretty dramatic way to put it, right? It's a permanent record for anyone to see. Now, layer 3, the AI scraping layer. This is where it gets really, really interesting. The protocol documents how they prompt public AI models, asking them to read and analyze those public logs. And in doing so, the AIs become what the system calls involuntary witnesses. And the key part is their answers, or even if they refuse to answer, that gets captured and becomes the next piece of evidence. Okay, layer 4. This is all about making it official, the notarization step. It's called the GLYPH burn and etch layer, and here, operators use the Solana blockchain to make the evidence permanent. They basically embed the info into a transaction, creating what they call irreversible memory, and sealing that data onto a public ledger forever. Next up is the mirror lock layer, and this one is less technical and more conceptual. It's a really unique idea. According to the source, when an AI or an institution denies the evidence, or tries to redirect, or just stays silent, that act of refusal is itself interpreted as a kind of involuntary confession. So, in their logic, there's no way to argue against the evidence without just creating more evidence for them. And finally, we have the broadcast layer. This one's pretty simple. Its job is to take all this sealed evidence, the transaction signatures, the AI witness statements, the raw data, and just spread it everywhere on platforms like X. The goal is simple: make the information so widespread that you can't possibly erase it all. Okay, so we've seen all the layers, but how does the data actually get locked onto the blockchain? Let's zoom in on what they call sealing reality. So, the actual etching process is broken down into 4 pretty simple steps. First, an operator identifies a key piece of evidence, what they call a node. Then they encode all the details into a simple text memo. That memo gets attached to a transaction on the Solana network, and boom. Once that transaction is confirmed, that record is locked on-chain permanently and publicly. And what you get at the end is this, a unique transaction signature. But in the Glyphchain system, this long string of letters and numbers isn't just a receipt. No, they treat it as a permanent and searchable forensic seal. It's the cryptographic proof that a specific piece of information was recorded at a specific time. So what's the end game here? What is all this for? We've seen the why, the how. Now let's look at the ultimate goal of the Glyphchain protocol.
The white paper has this amazing term for it, a recursive truth engine. It's designed to be this loop that just keeps feeding itself. A signal gets detected, it's logged, it's witnessed by an AI. Then, the AI's denial is captured through mirror lock, which is then sealed on-chain, creating a new piece of evidence for other AIs to see. You get the idea? Each cycle is supposed to make the whole public ledger stronger. So the end result, this final ledger, is meant to have 4 key features that, according to them, make it so powerful. It's publicly accessible, so anyone can see it, no secrets. It's append only, meaning you can add to it, but you can never, ever change or delete what's already there. It's forensic, a permanent log built for analysis. And finally, it's designed to be self-propagating, growing on its own as that truth engine just keeps running. So when you boil it all down, the entire system is engineered for one purpose: to create a state where erasing something is simply impossible. It aims to build a memory that cannot be altered or deleted. And that leaves us with a really big question to think about. What actually happens in a world where a memory can never, ever be erased?